Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I'm thrilled and honored to have you joining us today and to have the opportunity to connect in with you. Very excited to share on this show with our amazing guest. I know you are going to love his energy and his spirit, and I feel like he's perfect to bring aboard when we're talking about love. And we're looking at that in February, and part of one of the aspects, I should say, of love is really learning how to love ourselves and others and really embrace fully who we are. And this is something he stands for so powerfully and is bringing forward an amazing book that I feel like is taking a unique approach to helping to bring this message forward. So I'm very excited to have him leaning in and be able to join us today and share. With that, I want to take a moment and just pause. Sometimes we are so busy rushing and the day kind of gets away from us. And so I want to give you an opportunity during our time together today to actually pause. Take a breath. And as you do that, just feel that space and that expansion and that slowing down for you. This is an opportunity as you connect in for us to pour into you, to support you, to fill you up as you get ready to go back out into the world. And I invite you to take the opportunity to choose to be fully present. And breathing, mindfulness is a great way to do that. And you can do that with one breath, that breathing in all the way to your toes. Picture breathing in all the support and love around you. As you breathe out, releasing all that no longer serves. And as you're doing that, it actually creates space for more support and love to come in. And it also helps us lower our stress levels, our cortisol levels. It allows us to slow down enough to hear, to receive. Sometimes we are so busy, we miss those messages of the heart that are bubbling up, that wisdom, that insight, that encouragement. So today, as we're really focusing in on love and embracing all of who you are, I want to encourage you to close your eyes, take another beautiful breath, and actually put both your hands on your heart. Notice the heartbeat. Feel that. And then lean in a little bit more and notice the pause in between the beats of the heart. And as you do that and you tune in, lean down and listen. What message is your heart sharing with you today? What encouragement is it giving you? What support is it allowing and wanting to bring forward to you? And then share with your heart, what is it that you need today? What will encourage you, empower you, uplift you, help you embrace more fully all of who you are? What do you need today, real time, that you're willing to receive? And share that with your heart. Beautiful. Let's take another breath. Open up your eyes, become fully present, and I invite you to sit in that heart space as we go through our time together today and take a moment and write down what was laid on your heart that you need and are willing to receive. And perhaps that special reminder or message or thought or sometimes it's music. We can hear and receive information in so many different ways. So what was shared with you? And by writing it down, it helps bring it into reality. It gets it out of swirling around in you, and you can start to interact with it. It can make it real. So I encourage you to do that. sometimes we miss things because we move so quickly, or we have it for a second and then we rush off to the next thing. So take a moment, really anchor that in, write that down, and be leaning into our time together today to hear and listen and discover something that can support and empower you on your journey. Beautiful. So with that, I'm excited to bring our amazing guest aboard, and you'll know him in a couple of different ways. He goes by Scott Delaney, and his author name is S.C. Delaney. And Scott, I would love for you to share what was laid on your heart when you took a moment to stop, pause, and listen.
Thanks, Rebecca. I think for me, it was really, I was reflecting on the health of a loved one, someone who's really, really important to me and stuff. And I just was sending them positive energy and positive love and just trying to send some sort of positivity towards them and stuff like that. And I think that's what was on my heart when I first thought about it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And actually, here's an opportunity. I would love all of us to just take a moment and let's hold Scott up and a family member that's really important to him. And together, collectively, let's just send love and support to him, to that family member. Beautiful. There's something powerful when we can come together. It matters how we show up and how we lean in and share. So Scott, I appreciate you sharing that with us and giving us the opportunity to come together and unite and just pour love and support your way and their way.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think what was laid on my heart, listeners, is how much love is and can be around us, and that we can lead and bring that forward if we just stop and pause and remember to treat ourselves like we would treat our best friend and give ourselves that kindness and that encouragement and that love and support and fill ourselves up with it. And then we can bring that forward and pour that out into the world. And something I appreciate about you, Scott, and I think our listeners will discover this as we go through our conversation, I feel like you embody positivity and kindness and love and gratitude, and you just emanate those things out. And so I'm just thrilled to have you joining us on the show today. Listeners, we are getting ready to go to our first commercial break, and I want you to take a moment to really stop and pause and feel that love and support for you. Feel the connection we have as we mindfully, purposely tune in together, and be leaning in to our continued conversation that I know is going to encourage and uplift you. We'll look forward to talking to you and continuing the conversation in just a moment.
Follow Voice America at Facebook.com/Voice America for juicy updates from your favorite radio shows and podcasts.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you're enjoying being in that heart space. I know it always feels so good to me when I remember to stop, pause, and spend a little bit of time there. So I hope that you enjoyed that and you found it refreshing and are excited to continue our conversation. Well, I'm looking forward to introducing Scott to you. So Scott Delaney, also his author name is S.C. Delaney, was born in Germany, raised in the U.S. He lived in Korea and travels to his mom's homeland of New Zealand as often as possible. I love that he's lived in different parts of the world. His debut book, Elfie Earns Her Wings, is inspired from a childhood where diversity was celebrated, honored, courage, empathy, and teamwork were family gifts. I love that. This is part of his family gifting that he's bringing forward. He is passionate about difference being seen and embraced as a strength, and teamwork and doing good, that we can do good for good's sake. So please lean in. Warmly welcome the powerful, dynamic, and heart-centered Scott Delaney to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. I really appreciate that. That is such a great welcome. I really appreciate that very much. So,
you're welcome. Very excited to have you joining us. And I wanted to start the conversation with why. Why is diversity, teamwork, and courage? Why are those things personally so important to you?
It's interesting. I think diversity and teamwork are both really important. I think they're important for different reasons. I think diversity is important because it gives people a variety of thought and a variety of perspective. And I have a personal belief that the true answer is, that there are multiple ways of looking at the true answer and stuff. And the more viewpoints that you have, the more viewpoints that you bring in and stuff like that, that diversity of thought, that diversity of approaching a problem and stuff like that, it really provides a different perspective and allows you to get to the truth in a much more simple way and stuff. And I think teamwork is something, it's a tool that allows you to accomplish your goals. I think teamwork is critical. My mom's from New Zealand. Rugby is big over there, and teamwork is a big thing in terms of sports and stuff like that. And I have a sports background and stuff, and rugby, just like anything else, teamwork is really critical. And so I really believe that teamwork and diversity of thought, I think both of those, diversity of background, diversity of all sorts of things and stuff like that, is super important. So diversity and teamwork are two super critical themes of the book, and they're critical themes, I think, of just in life in general.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I think it takes great courage to embrace all of who you are and diversity, and to bring that forward. Like there's a joy in that, but there also takes some courage, I think, sometimes to fully own who we are and step forward. And I know that's something that's important to you as well. Anything you would add to that?
I think courage is, I think it's funny. Like, I think courage is something that is inside all of us, and it's that motivation that we find to actually enact action, and be able to drive things and stuff like that. And whether it's a voice inside of us that, talks to us and encourages us or pushes us or whatever the case may be. But I think having that courage and recognizing that courage and embracing that courage is something that's really helpful and powerful. And courage is the key to enacting, working as a team or making any sort of decision, or having the courage to listen to different viewpoints and hear a diversity of thought is super important as well. And so I think courage, empathy, and teamwork really are the critical things that really drive a lot of behavior and stuff like that, which is super critical and stuff. So
beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I'd love, as we're talking about courage and diversity and teamwork, and I know you come from this childhood where all of these were gifts that were something that you were raised with, and you really get to bring forward, and you have empathy in there. And I would love to know, do you have a step or a piece of advice for our listeners today of how we can take a step to embracing or being open to diversity a little bit more, or learning how to listen to ourselves a little bit more, or being more loving or courage, whichever of those pops out for you? I'd love for you to give us a piece of advice or a tip or a step we can take to bring more of those into our life.
Sure, absolutely. I think a big step towards diversity, one is I think it takes courage to embrace diversity and courage to really kind of bring diversity into your life and stuff like that. But I think being able to hear it and being able to have that faith that that the different viewpoints allow you to see things from a different thing and stuff like that, a different vantage point. And to me, I think the biggest trick is understanding that we don't know it all, and that we don't understand everything and stuff. And I think that's a really critical kind of mindset and a really critical kind of way of thinking about things. And I think once we accept that we don't have all the answers, then I think being able to be open to other viewpoints and hear other perspectives and other, a real diversity of thought and a real diversity of perspective, it allows us to kind of find truth. I think this whole world, this whole life is about finding truth and finding truth for ourselves, and that journey of self-love and that journey of finding truth that really means and speaks to us, tremendously and stuff like that. And I think having that courage to be able to pursue it and accepting the different viewpoints of diversity and stuff like that, I think it all kind of allows that. But my honest goal, my honest piece of advice would be just to accept that not everything is scripted. That there's a way to get to the truth, and it is through listening to other people and hearing other perspectives and hearing other people's thoughts and stuff like that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that wisdom and insight and perspective that we can weave into ourselves and into our day. So thank you very, very much for sharing. And this leads me to your powerful book. How so many of these things that we've been talking about are embodied in your book, and we get to go on a journey. So I'd love for you to share what inspired you to create your debut book, Elfie Earns Her Wings. I'd love for you to share what inspired you. Why were you led to bring this forward?
Sure, absolutely. For me, Elfie Earns Her Wings was inspired by the world that I saw around me. Like, it was particularly from the strong women in my life. So my wife, Christine, is the strongest person I know. She's incredibly powerful. She's incredibly strong. That's an example that I took from my mother. My mom is very powerful. My mother-in-law is someone who I admire a great deal. My sisters-in-law, the women in my life and stuff, all these strong women that I have in my life. I coached adult women's rugby as well as high school girls track, and I saw players compete at the national level in both. In federal HR, which is what my day-to-day job is, there are many strong female leaders and stuff. And I also tutor middle school and high school kids in Arlington, and the courage and strength in these students is super inspiring. So I wanted to bundle all that strength into a character people could relate to. And I chose a female protagonist because I felt like literature and fantasy writing in particular could use more strong female voices. Not to say that there aren't strong women in fantasy, but I felt there could be more. And I wanted to share a message with people, women and girls in particular, that being yourself is the greatest gift that there is, and that there is strength in yourself, that no one is perfect, but our differences can be strengths, and that love, that self-love that you've talked about, Rebecca, and that self-understanding is critical to the journey that we take in becoming ourselves. So I think that's really important. I think Elfie Askell is all of that. She's half fairy, half pixie. Her parents have been banished for their love. She looks different and acts different. But like the women that I've seen through coaching and HR and tutoring and all that stuff, Elfie may be different, but she embodies the strength of the strong women and the powerful girls who I've met. And that's what inspired me, the journey of all these people in my life. Elfie's different, but she's herself, and that's what's beautiful and inspiring. This book is about Elfie's journey for self-love. That's what's so powerful. And it was and the strength of her, the strength of the character was drawn from so many strong women that are in my life and stuff. And I wanted to give homage to them in some sort of way. So.
I love it. I love it. So Elfie Earns Her Wings embodies all of that. And I feel like she goes on this journey of discovering and embracing her differences, and in the end earns her wings as she goes on all these adventures and this journey. And I was privileged and honored to get to have an advance copy that I read, and I was so caught up in the story and the different adventures that Elfie went on and her family and all that came forward. So it's a book that I feel like can reach so many different people, and there's a joy in reading it and going on the adventures that she goes on and brings forward. So I know this is a book that will encourage and inspire people. I would love to know, is there a vision that you have or desire as this book goes? So it's soon to be released. We're going to talk about that in a moment. It'll be in April. It's soon to be released. But I'd love for you to share your vision as this book is released, as it is brought into the world. What is the ripple that you're wanting to see? What are you hoping readers discover and bring forward in it? What does it bring forward in their life?
Well, I mean, the theme of the book, the message is all about self-love, and it's prevalent throughout the entire book. And when I was first writing Elfie Earns Her Wings, I was reading a lot of Carl Jung and his thoughts on the shadow self and stuff. And so the concept was one that I tried to relay in my writing, that loving all of you, even the unsavory or less desirable parts, is part of the process, and that self-love doesn't stop at what's acceptable, that self-love is accepting and loving of all parts of you. And I think that's a powerful way of thinking about it. But I really wanted that self-love to be a really common thing. And then, along those lines, that difference is strength, that teamwork above all, and do good for the sake of doing good regardless of the consequences. And that's a message, that I've tattooed around my neck, actually, believe it or not. But but those are all traits that my family taught me growing up, and traits that have been emphasized by my wife's family and my in-laws and my closest friends. No one's perfect, but we can be perfect for our purpose in our life. And that's self-love, and that's what the theme of the book is. It's really a journey of self-love, and figuring out that our differences are strengths, and that who we are is really a beautiful thing, even if we're different than what we see around us in the world and stuff.
Beautiful. Well, I think sometimes those differences can actually be our biggest gift that we bring the world.
Oh, totally.
So I'd love for you to comment on that and your thoughts. I think that sometimes that's exactly what the world needs. That's part of why we're here, is to bring some of those differences forward. And when we hide them, the world misses out. We miss out. When we can lean in and embrace them, it makes a difference. It adds that color, that texture, that vibrancy, that frequency that is needed. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Difference. Oh, absolutely. I think that difference is why diversity is so powerful, and why it's having a different thought, having a different thought than somebody that you're with or that you're communicating with or interacting with or whatever. It allows you to kind of feed off each other if you're open to it and you're listening to it and you're welcoming it and stuff like that. Hearing a different thought and different perspective, you don't have to agree to it, you don't have to buy into it, but just hearing it, hearing that different way of perceiving something, it gives you a different vantage point on what the ultimate truth is and stuff, and it gives you a different way of looking at it, which is so powerful. And that's why diversity is so important, and diversity, having diversity of thought and diversity of whether it's religion or ethnicity or demographic or whatever gender, it doesn't matter, whatever the diversity of thought is, having a different perspective gives you a different perspective on what the truth is. And that belief, that perspective of difference being powerful and important is so, it's so critical, not just to the book, but to life in general, just being able to accept differences and realizing that, hey, we're all human beings, or in the book, they're fairies and pixies, but we're all people. We all have these traits, and these traits are what make us so powerful and stuff like that. And just having difference is not a bad thing. It's just a different thing, and it makes us more powerful as a group and stuff, so.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I mentioned the book was going to be coming out in April. So I want people, the planners in the group, can you give us the launch date and why that day is so important to mark in our calendars?
Sure, no problem. That's a great question. The book date is launching 4/24/24. I have a math background, and numbers are really important to me and stuff. But that 4/24 just really that just 4/24/24 just really spoke to me and stuff like that. And I thought that was a great day to launch the book. So that's the date to look for. April 24th is the date that we're launching. I'm super excited about it. It's been a process and a journey, but I think when people actually read the book and see the book, I think I'm hopeful that they'll take some sort of feeling of insight into their own self-love, or whatever the case may be, like some sort of acceptance that differences are not negative, that differences are powerful, and differences make us who we are and stuff like that. And so that 4/24/24 date is really important to me. It's a different kind of date. It's got the numbers same forwards and backwards and all that stuff, which I like. But it's a different date, but it's a powerful date, and that's our launch date. So 4/24/24.
I love it. 4/24/24. And with that date, marking it on your calendar, not only will you be able to get a copy when it's first released, but in honor of its release, there will be a special rate of $1.99 for the first 24 hours, maybe 48, but definitely 24. We're going to be sharing it out. We're very excited about this book coming forward. We'll have Scott share his contact information towards the end of the show, so you can lean in and get on his list if you want to receive the special link for launch day. Happy to let you know how to do that. But for right now, it's great for you to mark that day on your calendar and be watching in media. We're going to be sharing out as soon as it's available the special links to take advantage of that rate. We always love to bring those opportunities to our listeners, especially a book that is so positive and fun and encouraging and thought-provoking. So I encourage you to add that date to your calendar. As we go to our next commercial break here, I want you to think about some of what Scott has shared, powerful insights and considerations around diversity and teamwork and being different and self-love. And we'll continue our conversation in just a moment.
Birdie told me Voice America is on X. Follow us at Voice America TRN.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Voice America programs are now available on your favorite connected device, including Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home. Through streams with Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio, listening to your favorite show is as easy as saying the show name followed by the word podcast.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast.
If that doesn't work, try adding on TuneIn or on iHeartRadio or on Apple Podcasts.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that opportunity to breathe and integrate and reflect on all the powerful and beautiful and insightful things that Scott has been sharing with us. And I also hope you put that date, 4/24/24, on the calendar as well as you lean into taking a look at his beautiful book. And we'd love your support in helping share it out. I think it's one of those books that will touch people's lives and hearts of all different ages and is something people will enjoy and get engaged in, and it will speak to their heart and spirit as they're enjoying the adventures and the journey of Elfie and earning her wings. Oh, I was thinking during the break that you chose to embody all of these really powerful and important concepts in a fantasy fiction that is designed for a variety of ages. And so I was just curious how that came to be, why that was the format that was the right one that called to you.
Well, it's interesting. So I think a lot of it was that I like the fantasy realm. I like the difference and stuff like that. I think it automatically, when I think of fantasy, I think of like different, and creative and out of the norm and stuff like that. And so it does kind of create a world where it allows a lot more freedom of thought and a lot more. I mean, it really is, without it's a freedom of thought, it's a freedom of exploration and creating this world and all this stuff that a lot of people will see a lot of familiarity with. I mean, there are, bears and badgers and animals that we're familiar with and stuff like that, which are in the book itself and stuff like that. But I picked the fantasy because I thought it was a world that I could play in, that it was a little bit more broad and stuff like that. And then also along the lines of diversity, I wanted to talk about like how Elfie was different without, I wanted to keep it broad enough that it could relate to as many people as possible. So by Elfie having a father who's a pixie and a mother who's a fairy and having this, dichotomy of thought in that regard, like I really wanted to create this world where I could talk about those differences and as a difference as opposed to getting it caught up in some other thing and stuff like that. Like I really wanted it to be focused on people that, the differences and, no matter what they are, like a broad stroke is how people are different. But I wanted to be able to capture that in a world that was a little bit more free flowing, a little bit more freedom of expression and stuff, which is why I chose fantasy. So.
I love it. And I love how she's a fixie. The combination of the two, I think is really beautiful. So I love that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say part of that also is that my mom's from New Zealand and my dad's from the States. And so growing up in that like kind of difference of, even some of the language and stuff like that, I'm granted New Zealand's an English speaking country as well, but like just having that difference of, kind of thought, it was really impactful on me as a kid. And so I wanted to kind of reflect that in the character of Elfie Askell. So
I love it. Thank you for sharing. And that actually was one of the questions I was going to ask you is which character do you most connect with? And so I believe that is Elfie. I'd love for you to share if there's something you want to expand on with that, that you just really resonate with her.
Yeah, it's amazing. So Elfie Askell is definitely the character who I identify with the strongest. And it's like her adventurous spirit that kind of draws me in and her pursuit of self-love that definitely keeps me engaged and stuff. And so writing this book was super fun, doing it with Elfie and like kind of like seeing how she explored and seeing how she grew and all that kind of good stuff. But Elfie's adventures around the world of Eludia remind me of the adventures that I used to have as a kid in the woods around my house growing up. With the other kids in the neighborhood and stuff like that, boys and girls, we'd all adventure and stuff. And yeah, like one of the settings is based on a setting when I was a kid and things like that. But I also Elfie is a giver and a connector, and she gives freely to her friends and loved ones, and her goal is to help the monarch queen take flight and all that stuff and learn majesty. And it's through her that our friends, Wright and Jules, connect and become friends. And so like Elfie, I'm a giver and a connector. And so I wanted her to have those traits. I thought those were really important, not only with courage and stuff, but also with teamwork and building a connection and stuff like that. I thought that was also, but also like Elfie, I had to learn self-love. So my parents had the strength to allow my siblings and me to become the people we were meant to be, which is a trait that my wife and my in-laws both have as well. And my parents did that by creating a space for my brothers and I where we could go out and explore, but we always had that love of our family waiting for us at home. And so that's why each of Elfie's adventures ends with her coming home to see her parents. And despite her parents' banishment, the love of her troop, her family, is incredibly strong. And that love can come from friends or family in real life, wherever you feel safe to share the adventures of your day. And I know not everybody has that love, but I wanted Elfie to have that as a source of strength. So to answer your question, Elfie Haskell is definitely the character who I most identify with. And I think it's, because of her adventurous spirit and all that good stuff, and a few other things as well that kind of relate to me as well. So.
I love it. And I love in this space, in this genre, that you can create the characters and you can create the adventures and bring in any of those elements and weave them into the story. And you have done that so beautifully and powerfully. And I know right now the cover design is in the works, but you have the vision. And I'd love for people to feel that if you can describe the pieces of the cover that are coming forward.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm having a woman who I used to coach rugby with. Her name is Melly Tess. That's what the name that she goes by for her art and stuff. And she is designing the cover for the piece, which is super exciting. I wanted to keep it very simple and very. First, I wanted to appeal to a wider audience, and I also wanted to keep the concept very simple. So it's just a pair of wings that are on the cover and stuff. It's a very simple cover. It'll have the title, Elfie Earns Her Wings, Courage, Empathy, and Teamwork, and then the picture of the wings, and then the name and stuff. And it just, with the SC Delaney at the bottom. But for me, it was that simplicity of message that I felt would talk to the most people, but also kind of reflected what the message of the book was about. The whole book is about Elfie earning her wings, and so what a better way to honor it than to have the wings on the cover of the book and stuff, so that was definitely part of it. But I wanted to incorporate people in my life who I knew, like this woman who did the covers. She and I used to coach her in rugby, and I've known her for a number of years, and she's another one of these powerful women who I know, and so I've been inspired by her art, and I thought it was a great partnership and stuff, so it's worked out really well together, so.
I love it. And there's a nice shimmer to the wings as well, which I think ties into the colors that are described in the book and the wings and a little bit of magic. I love the feel of them. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Rebecca. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome. Well, I'm also curious, as this is your first book that you're bringing forward, your debut book, what maybe has surprised you on the journey, or you're most excited about on the journey as you bring it forward? I just always think it's nice to give a little behind the scenes snapshot for our listeners as you get closer and closer to it coming forward.
Well, awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So it's this journey for me has been about 3 years. So the writing part of it, surprisingly, was probably the easiest part of it and stuff like that, just the creation and all that stuff. But I think once you create something and you want to do something with it, that's when it becomes a little bit more complicated and stuff, and so, but the process has been incredibly easy. It's been, RHG Productions publication has been super helpful in walking me through the process and stuff. It's been incredibly powerful. I worked with another powerful editor as well, Hannah Lyon, who was a contact of mine before I reached out to the publishing and stuff like that. So this whole process, I think the creation part of it is, that's the part that everybody thinks of, writing the book or whatever. But then the other aspects and getting it out to launch and making it become a reality, it's been such a learning process. And Rebecca, you've been amazing just talking to you about it and hearing your thoughts and getting your insights. And it's just been, I've met so many incredible artists along the way and so many incredible people that I've just learned so much from and stuff. And it's just been this incredibly powerful journey. But I think the biggest thing for me was it's one thing to have a story. It's another thing to have a book. And I think figuring out that process along the way has been really insightful and really powerful. So.
Thank you for sharing. And it has been an honor and a joy to be on the journey with you. And we're very excited about your book and bringing it forward, and know that it will touch a lot of hearts and lives, and I think bring joy and encouragement and love. And I love when we're able to come together and support a book like that is coming forward. So congratulations on creating such a powerful book that is soon to be released, and we're excited about that. And I also know that you have some other things in the works, so I'd love for you to share about that.
Yeah, well, actually, it's interesting. So this book launches 4/24/24, so lots to do between now and then. Getting that up to speed and all that good stuff. What's really cool is my wife is super supportive of me. I do writing retreats where I go away for a week or a weekend or something like that, and I go off by myself and usually somewhere around water and do some writing and stuff. And that's what I did this past week, is that I went out to Pasadena, Maryland. I got a little place right on the water where I can do some writing and stuff. A friend of mine who is a writer as well, they came out as well, and so we've had this opportunity to just kind of create and work on things as well. Right now what I'm working on is a sequel to Elfie Earns Her Wings, and that book's theme will center around leadership and women in leadership, is what that book will center around, which I think is a pretty powerful concept as well. So that's definitely the thing that I've been working on the most, getting that launched and ready and all that good stuff. So I'm super excited to share that with the world, but it's still in the creation process, and right now my focus is totally on Elfie Earns Her Wings. I want to make sure that launches successfully. But, of course, as a writer, there's always the creatives, the creations and all that good stuff. And that's definitely been the fun part about taking a week like this week and just kind of coming off by myself or with another writer friend and just thinking about writing and stuff like that. So, well, right now my focus is on Elfie Earns Her Wings. And then with the sequel, that's the book that I'm working on right now, is a sequel to Elfie Earns Her Wings. So.
Beautiful. I love that. And I love that I'm excited as a reader and a fan that there's more that will be coming forward and be shared with the world. And I think that's great to know, listeners, as well, that if you fall in love with Elfie loves, see, I'm all in love with Elfie, but Elfie Earns Her Wings. That there's more that will be coming as well. And I believe you will, as you lean in and get an opportunity on 4/24/24 to get your copy and share it out. And I'm excited that you have more birthing and coming forward. That's just beautiful to hear. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do, listeners, I want you to think about, what are you building into your life? I love how Scott has built in this time away that he sets up to focus in on creating and writing and builds that into his life. What sort of things are you building into your life to support all parts of you that you can create? If you're a creator, you can enjoy and bring forward. How are you weaving some of those things into your life? That's part of self-love, and I also think part of bringing your gifts and talents and perspective that you have, the way you look at things, the way that you are, to the world. So we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Voice America is on your favorite smart speaker. If you have Alexa or Google Home, go ahead and give us a try.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast on TuneIn.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
You need to live up to your full potential. You've heard that for years, but now there's a channel to help you get there. Introducing the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Our listeners have told us that they want to be motivated, hear about success stories, and positive encouragement around the clock. And we've responded to you. The Voice America Empowerment Channel is the home of the world's top life coaches, entrepreneurs, and success experts. Listen to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. It's here at voiceamericaempowerment.com.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break. There's 2 minutes just for you, the opportunity to really reflect on and integrate everything that has been shared with you and is speaking to your heart and speaking to your spirit. I have a couple of tips that I would love to share, or extra credit bonus opportunities. I invite you at the end of today's show, instead of just rushing back into the day, I encourage you to pause, to take a moment and reflect on what was laid on your heart at the beginning of the show. What spoke to you throughout the show, and take a moment to just pause and breathe it in. Consciously, purposely breathe in what serves, what you want to reflect on. Maybe write down a couple notes. Breathe out what no longer does. And then choose how you step into the day based on that. You get to choose how you move forward. The day doesn't get to be in charge. You get to be. And part of how you choose to show up and navigate will help you become who you want to be and how you want to be in your life. So I encourage you to be mindful as you step back into the day. I have really enjoyed, Scott, having you aboard and sharing with us today. I love your heart, your energy, your perspective around courage and love and diversity, and how you have brought so much richness into this book that you've created, Elfie Earns Her Wings, that is soon to be released. And just in case anybody missed the date, 4/24/24, we're going to hear that in our sleep, 4/24/24. And I invite you to put that on the calendar, because I know time moves quickly, and I want everybody to be able to take advantage of that special rate. And you'll see it under S.C. Delaney, his author name, S.C. Delaney, Elfie Earns Her Wings, and that'll be available in April 4/24/24. And Scott, as I'm reflecting back, I promised that I would let people know how to connect with you, how they could go deeper, and perhaps get on your list so they could get that special link for that $1.99 rate on the day of launch. Can you let us know how to do all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that, Rebecca. And I really appreciate the time that we've had here together today as well. I've really enjoyed this and really appreciate the time that you've given me. To contact me, Facebook, you can reach out to me by Facebook for Scott Delaney, or you can reach me on Instagram at Arlington Poet. That's Arlington like the city, poet like poetry. I started with writing poetry and then transitioned into writing prose. And I've been kind of going back and forth with that. But you can also find my website is www.arlingtonpoet.com. So those are the best ways to reach me. Facebook, Scott Delaney, Instagram, Arlington Poet, or my website, www.arlingtonpoet.com. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing and joining us today. I know when you're getting close to the launch, it's an especially busy time. So I just so appreciate you carving out this time to spend with us. And as you reflect on our conversation, is there anything on your heart, just a final reminder or thought that you wanted to share with our listeners as they get ready to go back into their day?
It's interesting. I love how you open the sequence with talking about what's on my heart. And the person who I was thinking of was somebody who the book was really, they were a big thought process in that part of, they were a big part of that whole thought process and stuff like that. So I just really, this whole journey, this whole experience, this whole conversation today has just been really powerful in that regard and given me a lot of thought about just loved ones and family and just love in general. So I really appreciate that very much. So thank you very much, Rebecca.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. And listeners, I want to thank each of you for leaning in and entrusting us with this time. And I hope that you got some really great nuggets, some things to think about to support you on your journey, because I know that each of you is a gift. There's no one else in the world just like you. And the biggest gift you can give the world, the biggest positive ripple you can create, is by being willing to be more of who you are and to share that just a little bit more. So I want to invite you as you step into the day to find a way to just stretch a little bit more, share a little bit more of who you are. Be willing to entrust the world and those around you with the gift of who you are. Be willing to be seen, be willing to be heard, be willing to share the heart that you have with others. It makes a difference. So wherever you go, whatever you do, I encourage you to be willing to bloom where you're planted and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone, and we'll look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter, next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel, with a replay on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.